There are so many 5-star light cones in the game right now, and with 4.0 right around the corner, I'm sure you guys want to know which one should you be building, which one should you be pulling, which one should you not pull, which one should you not build, which one should you not get from the Herta shop. I am getting tongue-tied just talking about this. So guys, in today's video, we're going to be covering every single 5-star light cone in the game, from free-to-play light cones to pay-to-win light cones and everything like that. And one more note I want to put here, guys, if I do not put a light cone on this tier list, that means you probably shouldn't even be pulling it in the first place. I might miss one or two here and there, but overall, guys, this is going to be my best list of tier lists here. Okay, let's hop into it now, guys. Starting off with our C tier first for our support light cones. To start this tier off, guys, it's actually going to be Silver Wolf signature light cone. I believe it's called Incessant Rain. But really what this light cone is going to be doing, guys, and the reason why I have it rated so low on this list here is because, first of all, it's increasing your effect hit rate, which is nice, right? But there are other free-to-play light cones in the Agility class. If you wanted to run an Agility character for increasing hit rate, you have things like Eyes of Prey, which increases effect hit rate. You have things like Before the Tutorial Mission Starts, which increases effect hit rate. So yes, while this is good, you can get this for basically free on any other light cone. So what else about this light cone is good, right? First of all, whenever the wearer deals damage to an enemy, it increases their crit rate, which, I mean, for most is not very good unless you're running someone like Acheron. But even if you're running someone like Acheron, this is still not too good because effect hit rate does not matter really there at all. Unless you were really focusing on running with Kafka and then trying to aim for 75% effect hit rate, very, very niche scenario. It doesn't really work too much there. And then on top of this, guys, you'll be having a base chance to inflict Aether Cut on the enemy, which is literally you make the target receive extra damage for one turn, which is a very low turn count on this. So realistically, you're getting crit rate, effect hit rate, and a one-turn vulnerability debuff you're putting on the enemy, right? Does it make too much sense to me to run this light cone when I think there are just better options all around just to run on her? So for that matter, guys, it is going down here in the C tier. I don't think it's very good to run. Hopping into our B tier now, though, guys, and I'm starting off with that list is going to be actually Ruan May's signature light cone. The reason why Ruan May's signature light cone here past himself and Mirror is so low in this list, guys, is because it's increasing break effect. Like, this only works for her, really, at this point. Because who else in the Harmony class is using a break effect other than MC or Harmony MC, right? No one, really, right? And on top of this as well, whenever the wearer uses their ultimate move, you're increasing the wearer damage for 3 turns. That's good. I think this is good. But that's really the only thing you're getting for 3 turns after using ultimate. I think there's better options you can use here on top of this, guys. You are really relying on having over a 150% break effect to get 1 SP back. So you get 1 free SP. And with that same breath, Fugue has the exact same problem. I think Fugue's light cone is probably even worse than Ruan May's light cone. And that's because of the fact that it's Anhility. Like, Anhility is like, who else is using break on Anhility other than Fugue, right? So, like, increasing break effect, no one else is using that shit for Anhility. Hopping into our A right now, first off, Zhao Cho's light cone, guys. Zhao Cho's light cone is also an Anhility light cone. I do think it has more uses than the previous light cones we talked about in this video, just because it's a little bit more universal. Not saying it's the best thing in the world, because first of all, it's increasing effect hit rate. 60%, really fucking massive. It can be used, right? But like I mentioned before, effect hit rate's not the only thing you need to be worrying about in most situations. After the wearer uses a basic attack, skill, or ultimate move to target an enemy, there is a chance to put unarmored on the enemy target. You're going to be making them take a vulnerability debuff, basically, right? Very low vulnerability, if I do say so myself. But if your character is Dot, which, I mean, I guess you could throw this on one of your Dot characters, like maybe like you could throw it on Black Swan, or maybe you could throw it on your House Silence, right? You're increasing 14% and plus 10% at E1 or S1, guys, so that's what, a 24% increase in vulnerability you're putting on the enemy for 2 turns. You need Dot. It kind of restricts you to being used. It is more useful than the other 2 we talked about before, but still not that useful. Hopping into our next option here, Miss Tribbie's light cone. Now, the reason why Tribbie's is also so low and not higher on this list here, because I do think it does have some use cases outside of just herself, and that's because of the fact that, okay, while it increases the wearer's crit damage, this can be used for characters that really scale off of crit damage, like Bronya, like Sparkle, like Sunday, right? They all scale off of crit damage, so this can be useful for them. But ultimately, why it's this low on the list is because you're really relying on follow-up attacks, right, to get energy back. That's why I have it here on the list. I think it's probably worse than the Zhao Cho light cone, probably the bottom of the A tier, contingent on being B tier, but still in the A tier for me right now. And then for my final pick for the A tier, guys, it's actually going to be Miss Spark L's light cone here, guys. Spark L's light cone is also another misnomer to me on, like, it increases crit damage before, like we mentioned before, with the Tribbie light cone, right? It increases 32% versus 36%, so overall Tribbie does get the win here on that light cone. But really why I think this is a little bit better is because of the fact that at the start of the battle you get 3 masks. Now 3 masks really good because you're going to be increasing the crit rate of your allies. crit rate really massive, right? The reason why this is so kerfuckled to Sparkle is because of the fact that you need SP to be gained. This means using your basic attack, right? Or I guess you could say in Sparkle scenario using your ultimate move, but you need 4 attacks, so 4 basic attacks, and this doesn't last for too long, right? Because yeah, crit damage massive, right? But it lasts for 4 turns. So I mean, like, that means you're basically basic attacking every single turn. So like, you'll definitely have more downtime with this. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world, but there's definitely more build-up. I would probably put it in the middle of our A tier here. Now, hopping into our S rank here, guys, my S rank, my only S rank, is actually Robin's Light Cone here. I think Robin's Light Cone is actually really good for the sense that basically every single time an ally attacks, you get 1 stack of Cannellation, so this works for every single one of your allies attacking. This is increasing the wearer's energy regeneration rate by 3% up to 5 times, so up to a 15% energy regeneration rate increase based off of your allies attacking. Absolutely massive, absolutely love that. You basically get this for absolutely free, right? Number 2, guys, whenever the wearer uses ultimate move, it removes Cannellation and then gains Cardenza. Cardenza increases the wearer's attack by 48% and all allies damage by 24%. So you get inherent energy regen from this. When you use ultimate, you give yourself attack, which honestly not the best thing in the world for everyone, but it does give a damage bonus for the rest of the team as well. So like I said, putting that at S tier here, I do think it is a decent enough light cone to use on multiple different people, and I do think it's a cut above everything else we've kind of talked about right now. And now hopping into our 2 best in slot here, guys, Cypher's is number 1 up here, guys, on this list. And the reason why I have Cypher up so high here is really because of the fact that it honestly can work for just about anyone, even like the new Kafka and stuff like that, right? First of all, increased speed, absolutely massive, 18% speed increase. Absolutely love to see it. But secondly, guys, whenever the wearer uses an attack, there's a 120% chance to inflict the enemy with Bamboozle. This is going to be causing defense shred to the enemy. If your speed's higher than 170, then you increase that defense shred by even more. So you basically get a massive amount of defense shred for absolutely free. This is the better version of one of the best light cones you can already get for the Inhaled class, which is Pearls of Sweat, which is a 4-star option. But it's giving you massive speed increases, which we absolutely love to see that. 170 speed, maybe kind of harsh to reach, but still overall, if you can reach it, you get extra juicy defense on the enemy. And then for our final option here on our support tier list is going to be Sundays. Now, I contemplated a bit with putting Sundays up here in BIS or S tier because I do think it is definitely S tier, but in terms of best in slot must pull, I do think this is a very, very juicy option that you could be pulling on your account, and that's because of the fact, guys, it works very similar to how Bronya's Light Cone works in the sense that you're giving yourself 1 free skill point back whenever using the ultimate move. Or I guess every 2 times you use the ultimate move. On top of this as well, guys, after we're using the skill or the ultimate on one ally, you regenerate energy, which is absolutely massive. And after doing a skill or ultimate, you get 1 stack of him. Each stack of him is going to be increasing the damage by 15%. So what? 15, 30, 45% increased damage from this light cone by advancing this to the front. It works very similar to this 4-star light cone here, which is called, I don't know what the exact name of it. Get this right here, right? 16% damage dealt for the next person in the line after using an advanced forward. So really good there. That's why I think this is really good, because this is really focusing on those single target hyper carry-esque supports, right? So Cedra or Cedra, whatever her name is, she'll actually be able to take use of this light cone. Sunday, Bronya, Sparkle can all take use of this light cone as well. That's my list right here, guys, for the best in slot support category. But now let's go ahead and hop into our best in slot DPS, because we have a lot of them to talk about today. So at C tier, guys, is actually going to be Jade's signature light cone here, guys, and the reason why it's so low on the tier list here is because of the fact that, okay, yes, it does give you 16% crit rate, which is overall pretty nice, but it really does incentivize you to be stacking as much crit damage as humanly possible, because in terms of ease of build, you need at least 200% crit damage to max out this light cone, which is giving you a 48% damage increase, which is overall pretty nice. But you have to think, this is not just overall damage to every single damage you're doing. This is only exclusive to follow-up damage. So this is going to be very exclusive to Jade, Jinyuan, maybe QQ, and I really can't think of another character that's really using follow-up attack. I guess maybe Himiko this could work on as well, but outside of that, who really uses follow-up attacks in the erudition category other than these units? It's something to write home about, and nothing I would say is a must-pull. So continuing with our trend of erudition light cones, guys, Argenti is going to be the next in C tier, because if it did not have one stipulation, I think this would be one of the best light cones in the erudition class. Okay, first of all, it increases crit damage. Absolutely amazing. We love that it increases crit damage, but you also have to think Jinyuan's John's light cone does the exact same thing, right? So let's continue on. The reason why I don't like it that much is because you're really relying on, first of all, having over 180 energy, or having up to 180 energy on a character with that you can't change that at all. That's just set in stone, the energy count of the character. Like overall, even if you didn't have 180 energy, if it just gave you a damage increase to everyone, or just a damage increase to every type of damage, or not just ultimate damage, this would probably be one of the better Erudition characters, probably the best Erudition light cone in the game in my opinion. But it doesn't do that. It only increases ultimate damage, which is pretty niche to someone like Argentea, or really just ultimate based damage dealing characters, when that's not the case for a lot of different characters. Next up on the list here, guys, is gonna be Dragon Danny's light cone. The reason I don't like this light cone that much is because yes, it increases crit rate, which is absolutely nice, but it really is gonna be relying on you using your basic attack to get stacks of Dragon's Crawl for 2 turns. This is gonna be increasing the wearer's attack and energy and regeneration rate, and you need 2 of these. So that means you're really relying on using basic attacks to even get this attack up. And the attack, okay, attack's really good. You're really gonna be relying off that character scaling off of a huge amount of damage percentage, and you're kind of kerfuckled to basic attacks like we mentioned before, right? Like, I think there are things that offer you better stats in the destruction category, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video when we get up to the higher tiers. On to our next pick here, guys, is actually going to be Miss Genially Used light cone, and this does give you 20% crit damage off rip, which is fine. I think other things will offer you a bit more in terms of just that 20% crit damage off rip, so I mean, like, it's okay. Not the best thing in the world, I would say. Next up here is going to be Zila's light cone, guys. I think Zila's light cone is pretty bad for the reason that, okay, I think crit rate's really amazing. Like, I think all these base stats of crit rate, I think crit rate overall to me is better than the crit damage provided, just because I feel like crit rate's harder to get. But the reason why I kind of don't like this light cone here is because you're really just increasing the base attack and skill damage, which is okay. So if you're not getting the majority of your damage from your skill, that's kind of weird, not gonna lie. And then also on top of this, you're getting crit damage of the ultimate increased. So on to the next one now. That's gonna be Mr. Booty Hill's light cone, guys. Not in the B tier, yeah, in the C tier. And the reason this is Break is just kind of shuttered down in the guts right now, and honestly, this can really not be used on any other hunt character. And then for our final light cone, guys, is going to be the Archer light cone. You see it says free right there. Technically, it's not free. You had 200 pulls, and it's not free anymore. That's for damn sure, because it's gone now. Anyways, guys, the reason why I don't like this light cone that much is, yes, it increases crit rate. I've already said it multiple times before. I love the crit rate increases. The big thing for me is, when the ally is entering battle, if ally's skill points max limit is increased to 6 or higher, this means you have to have Archer on the team, or you have to have Sparkle on the team. If you don't have Sparkle or Archer on the team, you do not get this attack buff at all. The only thing you're getting is after the wearer uses a skill increases their attack by 10%, stacking it to 4 times, so you get a 40% attack increase and then a 16% crit increase. To me, I think cruising in the LRC sounds better. Next up on our list, guys, is actually going to be Kafka's signature light cone. Yeah, it's kind of gone in the gutter since her, like, buff. Like, she's gotten a lot better, sure. But the fact that now that a 4-star light cone, a free-to-play light cone is better than her signature light cone really tells a lot, right? Because this is going to be increasing damage dealt. Okay, cool. But every attack launched by the ally is going to be increasing your speed stack into 3 times. So this means you do need 3 attacks to max out your speed. And then it's giving you an erosion, which is an extra lightning dot lasting for 1 turn. Like, really, who does this benefit other than, like, Kafka? And it doesn't even really benefit her that much anymore. But now hopping into our B tier, guys, starting off here is going to be Rappa's signature light cone. Now, you might say, why do you have Boot Hills down here in C tier, and why do you have Rappa's up here? Because overall, Rappa is just on average better than Boot Hill. Like, she's tier 1.5 at MOC, tier 1 at Apocalyptic Shadow, tier 1 pure fiction. In terms of versus him, like, he's good in Apocalyptic Shadow. He's already the same level as Rappa and MOC, and then much, much worse in pure fiction. So I feel like as overall, like, this is much better for just her alone than it is for her. That's why it deserves a tier higher in my opinion. Next up in our B tier, guys, is actually going to be the Milky Way light cone. And the reason why I have it in B tier is because I feel like it's decently universal across any character that would be ran in pure fiction. Because of the fact it counts for every enemy on the field, and it's giving you increased attack based off of that. And whenever the enemy is weakness broken, you're going to be increasing that wearer's damage by a pretty large amount as well. And there's always a large amount of enemies in pure fiction. So you practically always get this attack buff up. And then breaking the enemies is not that hard in pure fiction as well, especially when you're targeting the fodder mobs. So you're getting this damage bonus up practically at all times as well in pure fiction alone. So I'm putting it in B tier just because it is good for Erudition characters, or can be good for Erudition characters in pure fiction. The same thing can be said for me for Eternal Calculus as well. I think this also applies to that same role. You're increasing the wearer's attack by 12%, and then every single time you hit an enemy, for each target you hit, you'll be increasing that attack even more, and this can stack up to 5 different times. So absolutely massive attack bonus here for whoever is using this light cone here. If there's 3 or more enemy targets, you're increasing your speed too. So Like speed increase, attack increase, what more can you really ask for? Very, very universal for pure fiction, not really anything else. That's why it's so low. Next on my list here is going to be Mr. Jing Yuan's Light Cone, guys. Jing Yuan's Light Cone gives you massive crit damage, actually a lot higher crit damage than a lot of other like light cones that give crit damage give out, 36%. Absolutely massive. We love to see that. But on top of this as well, guys, the reason why it's so low on my list is because after the wearer uses a skill or ultimate move, they get Samus Corpse. You only can use Samus Corp if you trigger a follow-up attack, guys. So you're getting increased follow-up attack damage by 48%, which is where your big damage multiplier comes from this light cone. So you're relying on using follow-up attack. Hopping into our next B tier option, guys, is actually going to be Miss Yun Li's Light Cone. And the reason why I have it here, guys, is she's increasing crit damage, but it is really reliant on the ally getting attack. Now, it does increase aggro rate, but increasing aggro rate doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen. So you're getting a crit damage increase if you're being attacked. And then on top of this as well, guys, you're really relying on follow-up attacks to get the additional damage increase. Also, for me, Firefly's Light Cone is going to be sitting in the B tier as well, guys. There's a lot that fills out the B tier because I feel like a lot of these can't really be used on any other character, unfortunately. The reason I have it here, guys, you're increasing break effect, which is not the best thing in the world, but on top of this, you're going to be increasing... But on top of this, you have to be dealing break damage on the enemy target to get a debuff, a routed debuff on the enemy, which is going to make them take increased break damage and lowering their speed. Like, she's the only character in this that's really relying on break damage in the destruction class, so like, it's okay, it can't really be used on anyone else. But hopping into our next choice now, which is going to be Blade Signature Light Cone, guys. The problem with Blade Signature Light Cone is it really relies on you taking HP or consuming your own HP or getting attacked, so like, you do need a sense of aggro rate involved with that. And then on top of this as well, you're increasing crit rate by 18%, which is nice, and then increasing max HP, which is not very universal across the board. And then really the kind of like tops us all off is, okay, if this had a multiple turn counter on it of like, hey, whenever you get attacked or you consume your own HP, you get a damage increase for like 1 or 2 turns. No, this effect is removed after the wearer uses an attack, so any attack you use, whether that be a follow-up attack from Blade or any other character, whether that be an ultimate or a basic attack, like, it's just gone, and you have to rely on getting hit again. Next up here, guys, is going to be Topaz's Light Cone. Like, it increases your crit rate by 18%, but then after that, really, you're only getting increased damage dealt for follow-up attacks, so really only good for follow-up teams. But if you do have this on an ally that does do follow-up attacks, you increase the whole team's crit damage dealt. That's why I have it a little bit higher than this tier list here, because while, yes, you're relying on using this on a teammate that does follow-up attacks, like Fei Xiao, you could, I guess, technically use this on Dr. Ratio, or even Topaz herself, or even, I guess, Moze you could run this on as well, or really any character that's follow-up attacks. I think Hunt March 7th can also use this too. It enables the rest of the team, when using those follow-up attacks, to do more crit damage to the enemy, which is just super good. I think it's pretty good, pretty universal. All right, I'm gonna quickly finish the B tier here, guys. Then we'll talk about all of the other standard and like Herta Shop light cones that you can obtain, and talk about where they're priced at, because they keep deleting my shit. But anyways, next up, Dr. Ratio's light cone. The reason I like this light cone, guys, is because first of all, it's giving you an inherent crit damage increase. But really, on top of this, what kind of doesn't sell me for it is you're really relying on getting follow-up attacks to ensure that you're getting the defense down, right, or ignoring the defense, right. Our final pick for the B tier here, guys, is actually going to be Black Swan's Light Cone. Yes, guys, Black Swan Light Cone gives you inherent effect hit rate increase, which can be good for, you know, dot teams, sure, right? But the reason I don't put it higher on this list is because you're really relying, if I can freaking find it here, on having multiple dots put on the enemy at one time, because each one of these procs gives you 1 stack of profit, and each stack of these profits will be increasing the wearer's attack and make the dot ignore damage. So you want all 4 of these to be up at all times on the enemy, so you're getting defense shred on the enemy, and on top of that, you're getting extra stacks of attack as well. So very niche in that sense. If you're running on a dot team, I think it can work, especially with someone like Hysolence now. I think this is much more universal to both Kafka and Hysolence as well. You can use this on both of them. I think it can work, but that's why I have it in the B tier, guys, because it's pretty niche to like dot teams. If you don't have dot teams, then this is useless. Now let's go ahead and talk about the standard and Herta Shop light cones here, guys. Solitary Healing is also going to be B tier, guys. This is going to be increasing your break effect and also the dot damage you deal to enemies. Next up here, guys, Welt's light cone. Probably going to be putting it down here in the C tier. Pretty niche, right, because it's a damaging light cone. Most of your Inhility characters are not dealing damage other than like Acheron, right? So like if you don't have Acheron, this doesn't really come in too much clutch. Like you're increasing the damage dealt to debuff enemies, and then you're increasing the attack of attacks. So like not the best thing in the world, so that's why we also have it pretty low here on the tier list at C tier. Sleep Like the Dead. It gives you crit damage. If you don't hit a crit, then it gives you crit rate. Still not too good. So you're either only getting crit rate or crit damage. You're not getting both at the same time, so pretty shit in my opinion. Now, up in our S tier, gonna be our Hunt light cone, guys. Yes, gives you crit rate and attack if you're killing enemies, but really the crit rate aspect of this, up to 32% crit rate if the enemy's under 50% HP, and then also you're getting pretty big attack increases as well if you're able to kill that enemy. So up in S tier for me, absolutely amazing. You cannot tell me this light cone's not good for your account. Eternal Calculus, like we mentioned before, is going to be in the B tier, guys. I think it's okay. I think it can be used, but it's very, very niche to pure fiction. Same thing can be said for Hibiko's light cone as well, guys. It's going to be in the B tier as well. Really, really good for pure fiction, but not really anything else. Now hopping into On the Fall of the Aeon, I think On the Fall of the Aeon is going to be A tier. I think the attack increases it provides is actually really nice. I think overall this can be pretty universal because it's giving you increased attack for anyone. You can stack this up to 4 times. It doesn't wear off as well. And then on top of this as well, if you break an enemy, you're increasing your damage dealt by up to 24%, which is nice. So huge attack increases and good damage percent increases can be used across the board as long as you're able to break an enemy. So in the A tier for me because it's fairly universal across every single destruction character. Next up is going to be Clarus light cone in the C tier for me, guys. Really, it only gives you attack, it gives you HP back, and then it also is going to be giving you a damage increase if you are hit until the end of your next turn. So you're really relying on you being hit for this to actually proc. This can only happen 1 time per turn, so this you have to get hit every single turn essentially for this to even activate. Now on to our last little Herta shop light cone here we're going to talk about today. That's going to be the Remembrance light cone. Goes up here in S tier. I think it's really good. Increases speed, guys, which is super, super good. On top of this, we don't really have that many options for Remembrance light cones right now. So getting increased damage dealt by all your allies by up to 16% for 3 turns after using a skill is massive, meaning you can use this on any character, whether that be your DPS or you use it on a support character like Remembrance MC, right? Can work across the board there. I think this is really good and will be really good for a time to come just because of the fact of how supportive it is for the rest of the team. Hopping into the A tier now, Castris is going to be our first character up on this list. The reason why I have Castris in the A tier is because I think Castris is a really good character, but it really relies on max HP, which not everyone in the Remembrance class can take use of, so that's why I have it in this current tier right now, but it's good for Castris, and Castris is definitely meta, so it is definitely A tier. I think this is a super good option to pick up for Castris if you have Castris and you don't have her light cone yet. I think the same thing can be said for Acheron as well. Like the Acheron light cone only really works for Acheron, so for that matter, we're putting this in the A tier as well because I think Acheron's still good, not as good as Castris. I still think Acheron can definitely still be used in meta and perform quite well being tier 1 across the board here, but her light cone here is really increasing crit damage, which is not really good for any other like inhility based character, so really good for Acheron but not anything else. A tier is really just those light cones that are either really universally good but not good for a specific character like anymore, or really good for one character that is still pretty meta. Next up here, guys, is going to be Anaxa. I think this light cone is really good for someone like Anaxa. Next up here, guys, is going to be My Day. I think My Day's light cone is good for My Day, but outside of My Day, I don't think it's that good. I mean, you're increasing max HP, you're increasing healing coming back. So I guess you could say it's very similar to Kalara's signature light cone. Then you consume HP, you get increased damage dealt. Really good for My Day. I think My Day is really meta, so it's going to be an A tier. Fei Xiao, kind of the same story here as the other light cones. It's really good for Fei Xiao. I think Fei Xiao can still be meta. She is the best follow-up attack unit in the game. And also Aglia as well. As much as I shit on Aglia, Aglia is still a pretty good unit if you can throw her in her best in slot team. Like as of right now, I think she did get dropped down to tier 0.5. Still really good across the board. Like, okay, but if you don't have her in her best in slot team, she's kind of ass. But increasing base speed is going to be really good for just anyone inside the Remembrance class. On top of this as well, guys, after the wearer uses the Memo Sprite attacks, it gains 1 stack of Brocade. Every single stack is going to be increasing Memo Sprite damage, so this can be decently good, but you need a lot of attacks to actually make this work. The reason why it's so low on the list is because not many Memo Sprites in the game right now. Maybe we'll get more, but it's not a guarantee that we get more right now. So yeah, it's going to be an A tier for now. I definitely think it is an S rank contender though. I will say that. Hopping into our S tier now, guys, Saber is going to be our first S tier character here. The reason it is, you get a massive crit damage increase. On top of this, whenever using ultimate move, you're increasing the wearer's attack. And if the max energy is equal to 300, you're receiving a fixed amount of energy back. And once again, getting an extra attack increase, right? So if your energy is not over 300, you don't get this, but you do get massive, and I mean massive, crit damage increase and attack increase just by having this light cone equipped. So that's, for me, is like, it makes it really good for just about any single destruction character in the game. And if your energy can get over 300, so in the future, if a character does have an energy over 300, this can also work really good for them as well. So S tier for me, I think this is a really good option to use. Next up in our S tier, guys, is actually going to be the Herta's light cone. The Herta's light cone is going to be really good for the reason that it's going to be increasing crit rate by 12%, but on top of this as well, when using the ultimate move, you're increasing the damage dealt by wearer's skill and ultimate move by 60%. This can last for 3 turns. And on top of this as well, what I think is a really big factor here is that after using ultimate move, if the energy that to use the ultimate is over 140, 1 skill point back. So pretty SP efficient if you have this too. So really like this, pretty universal, can be used across the board on almost every single your edition character you have. And then finally, for our best in slot option, I know this one you're gonna be mad at, so we'll go ahead and talk about this one first. So our first best in slot, I know you're gonna be mad about this, high silenced light cone. Now, why do I have high silenced light cone here? Because first of all, it increases effect hit rate, so it can help out with those characters that need effect hit rate. Right now, it's lower than some of the other light cones here, like Jiao Chou's light cone, but I really want to put an emphasis on this. It is really good for dot characters, first of all, right? So dot characters, if you have dot characters, good for them. Now, that's very niche. So you're increasing the dot damage you can deal from every dot character you have, right? If you have an inhility character. On top of this, you're putting a debuff with every single attack, so really good for someone like Acheron if you want to put on any of your other allies. And then on top of this too, whenever an ally attacks this debuffed person, you're getting speed increases for them as well. So not only are you helping the whole team out in terms of speed, you're increasing dot damage dealt, you're putting debuffs on enemies, you're increasing effect hit rate. So all in all, just super good. And if you have high silence on your team, this is going to help her out even more so. So yeah, I have it in best in slot because I feel like it is probably the most universal inhility light cone in the game. Tell me in the comment section if I'm wrong on that in terms of 5-star options. But now let's move on to our final option here, Finon. Dude, Finon's light cone is actually Fanusian. It is actually goated. It is actually amazing. And the reason why that is, guys, is because of the fact it increases the wearer's base speed. Cinema, we love that. On top of this as well, guys, whenever the wearer deals damage, it ignores defense. Like free defense right now. Oh my god. After using the wearer's ultimate, you get Blazing Sun, which is removed at the start of their turn. So this is not the best thing in the world, but you are going to be getting increased 60% damage dealt from the ultimate move whenever you're using this, right? So if a character has follow-up attacks, this can be really good for them too. So let's say Clara, for example, right? Let's say Blade, for example, right? Let's say any of these characters that launch follow-up attacks, this can literally be used on all of them, because it's still lasting till the beginning of the turn. You use ultimate at the end of the turn, you get increased damage dealt across every single thing that's going to happen to you in the time frame of you getting back to that turn. But that is our tier list here today, guys, on all of our DPS. Now, I'm not going to go here and rate all the sustain ones because sustain, I think you can honestly run a lot of 4-star options, a lot of free-to-play 5-star options, and just have a better time. I don't think I have pulled a single signature 5-star light cone for any of my sustains, and it has been just fine for me. Just want to point that out there. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below on this. This is a really long video, I know, but I hope we went into detail. I hope it helps you out, and that's going to do it, guys. Subscribe if you made it to this point in the video already. I mean, goddamn, you've probably been sitting here for what? I don't know. This part right here has been 50 minutes. The other part was 20 minutes. It's probably like a 30-minute video, maybe. I don't know. Subscribe. Bye, guys. See you later.